The World Team Trials are this Friday and Saturday, and I want to talk to you about 65 kilograms. And this is a weight where I feel like if you look top to bottom, one of the most even and maybe unpredictable weight classes of the entire World Team Trials field. Now, if you don't know, World Team Trials go down this Friday and Saturday, and the winner of the World Team Trials Challenge Tournament will go on to Final X. Now, there's only 8 weights being contested because 57 and 61 kilograms, they're already set. It's Spencer Lee versus Luke Lildahl and Vito Rujal versus Jax Force. So then the first weight that's contested, 65 kilograms. And you got the top seed, in our opinion, as these are Kozak's pre-seeds or his predictions. And he's got Nick Lee. And I think Nick Lee was someone we're like, is he still wrestling? Is he going to compete this year? You know, he's on staff at Penn State. Is he going to compete? He did not wrestle at the Open. Is entered at the World Team Trials. Now, Nick Lee is the top seed. Why? Why is that our prediction? Well, he was in the Olympic Trials Finals last year. He was a World Team member in 2023. Those credentials we feel will probably separate him from the rest of this field. But while he may have that separation, that distinction, and a higher accomplishment of making a senior world team, I don't think that level of separation is going to exist necessarily within the wrestling. We haven't seen Nick compete in over a year now. And while he's in a great training situation, the number one training situation in America at Penn State, we don't know how he's going to look on the mat. And you've got guys like Jesse Mendez, who really at the Olympic trials looked about like he did, and Jesse has only gotten better since that time. But Jesse Mendez, you got to remember, he's been in nip and tuck matches, not just in folk style, but in freestyle with Bo Bartlett. And oh, by the way, you've got these phenoms, Marcus Blaze and Bo Bassett, are also going to be in this field as well. And a lot of people are wondering, how can those guys compete at the senior level? We know Marcus Blaze. You're probably saying, well, we know Marcus Blaze can compete at the senior level. Yes, we do know that. But his best weight is 61 kilograms, right? That's the weight where he made the World Team Trials Finals in 2024 and where he got third in 2025. But now he's up at 65. Is he going to be the right size for 65 kilograms? And what makes me, most interested in this weight class is when you think about, all right, this quad, 25 through 2028, we're concluding with the Olympics. Marcus Blaze is going to be a 65 kilogram guy. So this is kind of one of our first glimpses of how Marcus can compete at this weight class. And really, he is on the short list for one of those guys that can probably make an Olympic team in 2028. Of course, many of the people that are on this list are going to be in that contention. But this is going to be our first look at Marcus at 65, which we believe is ultimately going to be his landing spot for international wrestling. Bo Bassett has had a little bit of senior level experience, right? He entered the Last Chance Olympic Trials qualifier. He beat Anthony Ashnault. That was his big win, but fell to Matt Kolodzic in the finals there. But what should give you confidence if you're a fan of Bo Bassett or like watching him wrestle like I do, he is 4-0 against Aiden Valencia. And Aiden Valencia, since those matches, looked fantastic at the U.S. Open. He beat Real Woods twice. Real is in this field. And Real is someone I think people aren't talking about enough because of those two losses. But he beat Bo Bartlett very soundly. I think if you're looking for a dark horse winner, Real Woods might not be seated very high, nor will Bo Bartlett. But I think either of those guys could go on a run and absolutely make it to Final X. Recall, in 2023, Bo Bartlett, I'm bouncing around a little bit here, but in 2023, Bo Bartlett had a criteria loss to Nick Lee. It was so up in the air that they actually raised Bo Bartlett's hand. He thought he won, and then they went back and looked. They're like, oh, we got criteria wrong. Nick Lee was actually the winner. So that's just how competitive this weight class is. And then you have someone like Seth Gross, who's super seasoned. But again, is he right for this weight class? I don't think he is. I think 61 is his best weight. And I think his style doesn't necessarily translate up at 65 as well as someone like Marcus Blaze. And then you've got, who else haven't we talked about? Brother Brock Hardy. Brock is someone who, he's got a little more freestyle accolades than people realize, making U23 teams and bringing home a medal. Very unpredictable wrestler, right? He's got a lot of offense. He's good in the counter space. He's got just a ton of weapons at his disposal. And he's another guy. He's coming off a great NCAA season. Don't be surprised to see someone like Brock Hardy make a deep run. But also don't be surprised if some really good guys don't go on a run at all. There's 10 people in this bracket. They're all absolutely elite. And someone's going to go 0-2 here. Someone's going to have a bad day, but the field is just that elite. And I guess my overall point here is that we don't know how it's going to be seeded. We don't know how it's going to break down. But if you're looking for a weight of chaos, a weight where anything could happen, I think 65 kilogram is that weight class. And of course, a lot of people will be tuning in for the high school guys, Marcus Blaze and Bo Bassett. And Kozak has Blaze coming in as the 4 seed and Bassett the 5 because of those wins over Aiden Valencia. And the one thing and the point I was trying to make, and I went on 3 different tangents, is that while Bo is 4-0 against Aiden Valencia, I'm looking at Aiden Valencia a little bit differently now than how I did a year ago. I think he has jumped levels. I think what we saw from Aiden at the U.S. Open shows he is poised to push to make a team at the senior level. He is getting a lot better. He spent a year in that Stanford room and is wrestling, I think, as well as we've ever seen him. So will Bo continue to have that dominance over Aiden Valencia? Not that he dominated him, but 4-0 is 4-0, right? But I think on the other side of the coin, well, who's going to say that Bo Bassett hasn't gotten better in a year? I think that's very obvious as well. And while we've seen at 61 kilograms, Jax Forrest in Final X, could we potentially see another high schooler in Final X? I don't think we should be surprised if that happens. But at the end of it, Nick Lee on paper may be other people's favorite, but I think the odds-on pick is likely going to be Jesse Mendez, who has the youth, has that hunger, has that ability to beat just about anyone. I think his offense, his defense, everything's working together. His overall athleticism, I think, is poised well to navigate a field like this. But it's landmines galore. I wouldn't feel confident in picking any one guy. I think it's going to be an incredible weight to watch. But I want to know who you think is going to win this weight class. Who are your sleepers? Who's the dark horse? Who's the favorite? I think those are all really, really tough questions to answer at 65 kilograms. And it goes down Friday morning, gets started at 10 a.m. in Louisville, Kentucky. If you're there, come say hey. If not, hope you're tuning in to watch live on FloWrestling. And then those finals are going to go down Saturday afternoon. Hope you're going to be tuning in, and I'll see you there.